Today is Monday, December 16th, and today was a pretty good day for me. I'm back up to my all-time highs after briefly tagging 130, and then it kind of dipped down to like 120-ish, but now I'm back up. Let's see if I guess, I don't remember what my all-time was. It was like 131-ish, something like that. Yeah, but I guess the important thing, or the important part, is I am back up to my all-time high, so that is a good thing. Mostly off the backs of Robinhood, of course, and just overall in general the market has been doing pretty good. Nasdaq up about 1.5%, and an interesting relationship that I've been seeing actually between the American markets and the Chinese markets is whenever the American market seems to be doing good, the Chinese market will actually do bad. And it's kind of the opposite. Like whenever we're doing bad, the Chinese market is doing really good. And I know this is a leverage ETF, but this is one of the ways I'm kind of playing the Chinese market right now. So earlier today, I am down slightly now that I'm looking at this chart. But earlier today, I did go ahead and rebuy my shares of yinn that I have in a separate account. And if anybody remembers, in one of my past videos, maybe it was the one with the China in the title, I did go ahead and buy yinn, and I think the other ETF is CWEB, but it's two leveraged Chinese ETFs. And there was a day where China announced a huge stimulus package or something, and yinn literally pumped like 30% in a day, and it was insane. And I cashed out very close to the top, actually. I cashed out at 37 something. And today I did go ahead and rebuy my little position that I did have. So I did take profits, and now that I'm buying a bit more, I'm somewhat playing with house money, not really. But if we go ahead and take a look back at December 9th, let's go ahead and take a look at December 9th. Yeah, so for some reason, the American markets were kind of doing pretty bad, 9 and 10. And the Chinese market did also give up a little bit of gains. But it is a pretty weird relationship that I noticed. And I don't want to go as far as to say that China is a hedge against the US, because saying something like that can get dangerous, especially if we're like in a stock market crash and just everything is getting sold off, right? Then you kind of don't have a hedge. But lately I did also notice other like American stocks, but stocks that have exposure to China have also pulled back a decent amount. So stocks like Nike, of course, one that I own, stocks like Yinn, and just other Chinese related stocks seem to, in the short term, have done a little bit poorly when compared to the Nasdaq. So I did go ahead and buy a little bit of yen, and if the market, like our markets, the Nasdaq and the S&P, kind of goes through like this cool off period, maybe like a 10% correction or whatever, perhaps the Chinese ETFs could go up. Now, obviously that is not guaranteed. That is not financial advice or a buy and sell recommendation. That is just an observation that I've made, and one that I'm going to be looking out for. And if you haven't noticed, I did go ahead and sell a Nike secured put. The premium, of course, is pretty decent because Nike has earnings on Thursday, I believe, and this contract expires on Friday. So it is a bit risky. Nike could easily tank 10% on earnings, whatever. But I did go ahead and sell this instead of buying another 100 shares, because I think if I use a bit of margin on a cash secured put, while I have that cash secured put, I don't think I have to pay interest on that amount. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but yeah, I did go ahead and do that instead of buying 100 shares of Nike to round out to that even 500 share number, because I do have a decent amount of margin and a decent interest payment every single month. So to kind of keep that interest payment the same, I guess, I did go ahead and take this route instead. So if Nike decides to dip hard on earnings, I most likely will be assigned shares unless I roll it out a bit. But if it doesn't go down and it actually goes up a lot, well, then I basically will make I want to say like maybe 80 to 90% of the premium, just because of how close it is to expiration and earnings news gets out of the way. Usually that collapses the option value. And if we take a look at how much I gained, it was about 190 bucks. That's before fees though, so it's probably like 189 that I actually got from selling this put option. And of course, if it goes down, maybe I'll roll it out a week or a month out, collect a little bit more premium. And I honestly don't mind getting assigned 100 more Nike shares to round it up to nice even 500 amount. So yeah, that is why I decided to go ahead and sell one cash secured put on Nike, basically an earnings play. And if we take a look at the performance of my account lately, Robinhood is up 7.4%, which is crazy. Nike basically did nothing today. Palantir kind of cooling off, but it did regain a lot of its losses throughout the day. I know my covered call actually was in a decent profit, and then it just went right back down because Palantir recovered very nicely. And of course, Pepsi also going down. And I also think this plays into how the market is still very heavy risk on. So stocks like Pepsi, of course, they're just going to get hit until the market decides it wants to turn around the other direction. So we have a risk off period, and then maybe stocks like Pepsi will catch a bid. Tesla, of course, up 7%. TLT not doing anything. PayPal basically flat. Honest almost up 5%, 4.8%. SoFi 3.69. And so I guess you could say the ideal situation that I'm betting on, not really, not as much, but the situation that I think could play out here in the short term is our markets, like the American markets, the NASDAQ, S&P, etc. We kind of go through like this cool off period where maybe we'll have a 10% correction. Who knows what it is? Maybe we'll just stay flat or have like this brief risk off period while other stocks that haven't done as well, like Nike. I know another popular stock is Yinn, which has heavy China exposure. Stocks like Pepsi. Whenever we have this risk off period, these types of stocks will do good. And if you're wondering why I say why I grouped Nike with that risk off period was, remember what I said earlier in the video, we could see the Chinese market go up if our markets kind of have this cool off period, right? So our stocks might dip a little bit and the Chinese market might catch a bid. And so that will help lift up stocks like Nike, especially if they report good earnings. We could also see a scenario where the S&P perhaps has a down day on the day that Nike reports earnings, and Nike will have a tremendous green day along with Chinese stocks, whatever. But this is all just a guess, of course. I'm just kind of brainstorming here of a situation that I think could play out.